Okay, so I've got an extension activity for any of you who want to take your sketchbooks to the next level. So here's a couple I've done. One I've been playing with, and one that I made this morning, which was just going around the windows of my house and looking at what was outside, the marks and the lines. And again, I used a stick. I used one of my twigs because I really like using a stick with ink. It just gives such lovely varied and free mark making. So this is an extension for any of you who want to have the experience of being brave and adventurous with painting, which is obviously, given the name of my program, it is the kind of the key concept, the core concept of my the Adventurous Painters program, which is starting again in May for any of you who are interested. And so this is the idea that we that it can be a real gift to us as artists if we can lose our tendency to be precious about things that we've already done, and being willing to experiment and explore and keep getting confident with how we can layer paint and build up layers in a painting. I mean, obviously there are some artists who just enjoy making work that is very raw and very fresh and very immediate and very spontaneous, which is, can be lovely and fine. But I like the process myself of building up layers in a painting, pushing a painting, keeping on pushing a painting forward, seeing what happens, where we can go with it. And it's good for confidence as well, that we can start to learn that we can always keep pushing a painting forward. And even if it goes horrible and it's looking a mess and we think we've ruined it, that we can always keep going on to the next stage, the next step. So what you'll need if you want to have a go at this is you'll need some brushes. I've just got a variety. I've got one of my big brushes that I used for the original paper. You'll need a palette, you'll need some water, and you will need to identify the original colours that you used for your paper. So I've got phthalo blue and a raw umber here that I'm going to use. So I'm going to put some of those out. And you'll also need some white, a white paint. Now, the reason that I'm going back to my original colours is that I'm going to I don't want to use pure white. I'm going to make a nice neutral colour, a sort of neutral grey, that will harmonise with the original paper. So this is a really good principle if we want to keep our colours looking as though they belong together and they work together. We can stick with a very simple colour palette, and we can add a tiny bit of our original colours to the white, and we'll end up with a harmonised white. So I'm just wanting to make sure you can see everything here. The other thing I've got here is a couple of edging tools, sharp edges, because I quite like some straight edges sometimes. It's quite nice to paint up against an edge. And I've also got a stick. So tools for scratching can be nice. It can be really nice to scratch into the paint to reveal what's underneath. So I'm going to go about this very simply, and I'm not trying to improve. I'm not setting out with the intention of trying to improve what I've already done. All I'm doing is allowing myself to say, what happens if I add another layer of paint to this? Do you see how strong phthalo blue is as a colour? If you haven't worked with it before, just be aware that it's a very, very, very strong colour. So that's quite a nice soft bluey colour here with a bit of my raw umber in it. And I'm really not going to be precious, as I say, about what I'm covering up here. I'm not thinking about what I'm keeping. I'm just painting over what I've done. I'm just putting some paint on here, and maybe I'll do a scratch, I think, through here, just to reveal what's underneath. It's as simple as that. Allowing yourself to have the experience of not being precious about what you've already done. I'm going to go with a slightly paler colour. My next page, a bit more of a brown I've got here. Can you see that? I might want to just scrape some of this off, some of this paint that's under there. Now I've got some dark under there. Just try and bring this down a little bit lower. You can get a bit more detail on what I'm doing here. So a stick is really nice just to scratch. Bring some of these marks back that are underneath. Do you see how lovely these are? They're very, very simple things. And completely different from the original. They just become something else. I haven't thought about space here, had I? I'll just put that there, like that. So we can just experiment with the lightness, the thickness, the heaviness of our mark making. Here can be very light. To a scratch again. Now if my paper had been primed, if I'd got gesso on my paper, I'd be able to scratch through much more. I'd be able to see much more of the marks underneath. But aren't they lovely, these pages? They're just really subtle. And the colours are just so subtle and just harmonise so beautifully together. Let's go with a bit more blue on this one. Turn my palette round. It's better. So we can just play with mark making. It's just about seeing what happens when we add a layer. Pushing it, pushing how far we can go, what we choose to leave, what we choose to reveal. We do a lot with colour harmony on the Adventurous Painters programme, and we'll be particularly working with natural colours, natural palettes on the next module because the theme is inspired by the outdoors. I'm really enjoying these blues, these very pale, soft blues here. Let's have a straight edge on this one just because I can. I'm going to paint up against, I'm just going to make sure you can see this. I'm going to paint up against a straight edge because that can be really nice. So I'm not trying to paint a painting. I'm not trying to add or enhance what I've already got. I'm just simply experimenting with these pages now. They're just lovely pieces to experiment with. keeping a bit of my straight edge there, breaking it up a bit with some more marks. Right, I'm going to try a wetter one, this next one. I'm going to wet this bigger brush, the mark making we did on the original papers. Take some wetter brush marks. Right, 2 more to go. This is a nice quick exercise. I'm going to use a bit more white, I think. Go a bit lighter on this one. So many different ways we can apply paint. I'm going to do a more geometric shape on this one because there were the roofs of the houses. I'm hoping you can still see this. I'm just going to put a little triangle in here. Try something different. If it doesn't work, I'll paint over it. So this is a chance just simply to play with layering. Being brave, putting a layer of paint on top of what you've already done. Being sort of, what's the word I'm looking for? Being free with what you've already done. So we've got some more geometric shapes in this one, which is quite interesting. Let's cover some more up. So I'm busy planning for the next module, Adventurous Painters. I'm going to start, we've been working with line in these sketchbooks, and I'm going to start with line, mark making, brushwork. We'll be spending a few weeks on that. I was going to start with colour. I changed my mind. We're going to start with line because it's so fundamental to the landscape. And it's so fundamental to painting, being able to control a brush, being able to create interesting lines, work with line in interesting ways, being able to be free and expressive with our line, with the use of line in painting. So that's where we're going to start. So we're going to build on these sketchbooks, what we've done with these sketchbooks. So if you are coming on the programme, do make some of these. They're a really good starting point for the module. This is quite interesting, isn't it, this one, with the just revealing, allowing some, just some of the marks underneath to be revealed under these much more solid, opaque, geometric shapes. Really fun. One more. So yeah, so we'll be starting with line. Lots of work, going outside, doing some more drawing or working from photographs if you're not able to get outside, and thinking about different tools, different mark making tools we can use, thinking about what line does for us in a painting, what it achieves, why we need line as part of our composition. And then we'll be going on to colour and doing lots of colour mixing, talking further and deeper about colour harmony, and thinking about landscape colour palettes that aren't just green, thinking about earthy colours, thinking about interesting ways that we can use colour inspired by or evocative of the outside world, the world around us. So I'm really looking forward to the programme. I've put together a programme that I know I would enjoy myself. So completely different pieces to what I started with. I'm just pushing paint around, finding out what I can do with it. Isn't that lovely, that little bit of texture I've just revealed there? So I encourage you to have a go at taking your some of your little sketchbooks to the next level. Seeing what happens, just playing, just pushing paint around, seeing what we can leave, what we can reveal, what happens when we cover up. And do share what you do in the group. And if you want to sign up for the next module of Adventurous Painters, the deadline is at the end of this week. The new Facebook group for that module will open on Monday. And I'll be sending out the welcome and instruction letters on Monday, next Monday, to everybody who's signed up. So we're sort of moving towards getting going on that one. So do get signed up if you want to be part of that group. We've got about 20 people, I think, booked so far. So we've got spaces for some more. So do come along.